Over the last few thousand years,
Spirit science.
as we rounded the curve on the precession,
Unfalsifiable hypothesis.
Orion's belt, a golden mean, and Fibonacci spiral
Underestimates the human race's knowledge of math.
They didn't know the history of Earth, and they were simply creating tales to explain where they came from.
That's probably exactly what happened, and again, underestimates the human understanding of everything. Might be giant space sticks that told them.
Because it takes over 2,000 years of continuous observation to actually learn that the Earth has a wobble.
Must not be math?
A man named Zachariah Sitchin.
Zachariah Shitshin.
Not only that, but Thoth has also
Thoth.
shared information. Adamus and other channelings.
Channeling.
I am simply saying, decide for yourself.
Bullshit.
We're dimensional, and we're very psychic. We communicated through thought and emotion. Much like how
Evidence.
animals do. We lived primarily on a large string of islands called Lemuria.
Lemuria.
We called it Atlantis.
Atlantis.
According to Thoth, used to run along the western shores of Lemuria.
More easily explained by tectonic activity.
World War I began soon after, and we lost interest in spirituality and the ancient lands for a very long time.
We lost interest because it's a stupid subject. Hey guys, there's a war going on, but what about the tinfoil hats?
At that time, there were about 1,000 humans at a very high consciousness. More
1,000 humans is not enough genetic diversity to populate an entire planet. Oh, I get it, because aliens.
This created vortexes of energy.
Vortexes can have energy, but they cannot be made of energy.
We were a female species, like a 12-year-old girl.
Pseudoscience. And that's sexist.
And in life, you can't have an empty place. Life will find a way to fill it.
What about the other 99.9% of the universe where life can't exist?
And it describes in detail the sinking of Atlantis.
Citation.
The first race were the Hebrews.
Is it my turn to say it? Is it my turn to say it? Space Jews!
The doing. They didn't graduate to the next level of evolution, so
That's not how evolution works.
It also puts perspective on the story of Exodus.
No evidence that the Exodus occurred.
They actually benefited our evolution.
If they were from another planet, they would not have been able to mate and interbreed with humans, because evolution. No.
4 and 5-sided pyramids, eventually building a complex that was able to build a synthetic Merkaba.
Well, I see a penis and a pair of tits.
They joined and changed our evolutionary path.
This is not how evolution works.
We now had the planetary consciousness of a 14-year-old girl.
Sexist.
But the Martians slowly began to implement their left brain technologies.
Left brain technologies? Is that like the part of the brain that controls my right hand while I'm jerking it?
There's something you should know. In the near future, the Earth's poles are going to shift.
The poles are constantly moving, albeit slowly, but it's always happening.
This is again just putting what he was doing into boxes of understanding.
One of these things is not like the other. One of these things is not the same.
And within 24 hours, the sun would be rising differently than it did the previous day.
Magnetic poles shift without the physical pole shifting.
A while back, NOVA did 2 reports on polar shifts, and both times NASA shut them down.
Conspiracy!
Our collapse of social structure is related to the geomagnetics of the Earth. Or perhaps it's the other way around.
Ad hoc post ergo prompter hoc.
It's in the east, and then the west, then the east, then the west.
Whee, what a fun ride, yet somehow Thoth survived.
The accounts of Adam, Eve, and all of their children were recorded to have exceptionally long lifespans,
Talks about the evolution of humankind, yet appeals to the story of the Garden of Eden.
killing a huge portion of their population. They were pissed.
Emotionless Martians suddenly have emotions.
Though today's disasters are a direct result of these events.
Atlantis tied to climate change today.
These beings were Earthlings like us, but very different.
Spermy body thetans.
The power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you!
Because the 11th and 12th dimensions are completely incomprehensible to us in our current state.
I'd like to watch the Justice League instead.
If we didn't, we would not survive. This has never happened before in the universe, ever.
Evidence.
These grids give off light as well, and from space they can be seen as the source of the bluish glow around the Earth.
Riley scattering.
They knew that there had to be something that wasn't yet understood about how a species is connected to itself.
Genetics? Oh no, it must be a crystalline grid that sits on the head of a monkey all the time.
And the field of noetics is learning more about it daily.
Humans see faces, therefore noetics.
This couldn't be a coincidence that these government powers place their bases right where the little spirals came out of the grid.
That's a reasonable answer, but of course, conspiracy.
There was another organization that had its hand in both of these governments, and still do, and we will discuss them soon enough.
Bring on the Illuminati. Yeah!
So whatever they thought happened instantly. It was that simple.
Highly intelligent millionth dimensional beings that can think things into existence yet can't fix the world's problems except with Christ's consciousness grid.
Every time more is learned about the pyramids,
Police, thousands of men, wet sand, 30 years ought to do it, but no ancient aliens.
the creation of all of the sacred sites on the planet were no accident. It was a single consciousness that created them all.
Or people like to build stuff.
Richard Hoagland's research.
Richard Hoagland.
Congratulations, Earth. We actually survived.
Yay.
formed from a substance created through alchemical transmutation.
Alchemical transmutation.
It makes you really start considering that this next part can be true.
Still a skeptic.
The Sphinx, according to Thoth, is not 12,000 years old, but dates back over 5.5 million years on Earth.
5.5 million years of erosion would have destroyed it.
The ship is also intimately connected with the spirit of the Earth and is the protector for the whole planet.
Spaceship under the Sphinx.
Then, whatever that person thinks and feels will happen.
That would have fixed all the other problems.
Consciousness is the primary core component of the entire planet. Does it not make sense that it would have its own defense mechanism? She tuned it to the frequency of the fourth dimension.
The fourth dimension is time.
The person will just think them away, think up a situation and force them to leave.
Deus machina.
The 3.5 days of absolute blackness described by many ancient cultures in the world.
No, that never happened.
This refers to a time when we go through what science calls the electromagnetic null zone.
Looked it up on college library, nothing but woo-woo.
What is not entirely understood by science yet is the connection our memories have with the planet itself.
Argument from ignorance.
What happened to us when we didn't have that protection? It was a clean wipe.
How convenient.
This is why today we are so physically advanced compared to pretty much all the other animals in this third dimension.
No, we are not more advanced.
The events of Atlantis took place on a much higher dimension than our physical Earth exists on right now.
Because convenience.
Sometime in here was when the flood of Noah occurred. Because of the pole shift, the Earth went through an ice age. This is scientific fact.
No, it isn't. That never happened.
DNA is the physical manifestation of who you are. It is your soul's physical aspect.
Or the result of evolution. No, 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 no.
Some of the kings were even able to translate into different dimensions.
Statues are tall, therefore people are tall, because logic.
No archaeologist can explain how this happened or explain how it could have happened.
That's because that didn't happen.
How did Egypt and Sumer do this? Well, this is what Thoth said.
No one cares what Thoth said.
They said, this is the history of the planet, write it down.
As told by aliens that weren't there.
Paramount was outraged and they backed off.
That never happened.
4,000 years after the stair-step evolution, we were at our lowest stage of our evolution.
This is not evolution.
3 men came to Earth to give us a little nudge.
Yay, the Stooges are here!
This little device was a kind of generator to increase vibrations.
I got something that vibrates.
But basically, sexual energy is an incredibly powerful energy. We definitely abuse it today.
I know, I abuse it all the time.
They would onk the energy out of the back of their body and over their head and back into their body.
Giant pearl necklace.
When Atlantis was first formed, the Nacals set up something called a mystery school.
Here we are taught to onk everything that moves.
Consciousness, and you learn different aspects of expanding your own consciousness and eventually getting to a place where you become immortal. It usually took a very long time to achieve this state, and that's why there were only about 1,000 Nacals in comparison to the millions of Lemurians at the start of Atlantis. The first Atlantean to reach the immortal state was a man named Osiris.
Legend has it that that dude invented beer. Don't disgrace him.
Spirit back into the body. Through doing this, Osiris became immortal.
So after Jason hacks me to pieces, I can just onk myself back together.
After the fall, we still had a photographic memory and could share these experiences with each other, which is called dream time.
The Sasquatch used dream time.
And people would follow these understandings to learn more about their life or their own reality.
Can't accept death, so just make up shit.
Akhenaten was the first pharaoh, which meant that which you will become.
Pharaoh means great house.
What actually happened?
I'm sure you don't actually know.
That man then went on to found Greece.
Pythagoras didn't found Greece.
A man and a woman, you might have heard of them. Mary and Joseph?
Now you're just making up shit as you go along.
If Yahshua had not shown up, we would not have had that ascension experience available to us today.
I think Jesus would have disagreed.
Now, as we all know, the story of Jesus has a missing piece. He was a child, disappeared for some time, and then showed up again when he was 30.
Messiah trope.
To either the Himalayan or Tibetan mountains, where he became an enlightened guru.
If he existed at all, he probably didn't do anything during those years.
A man named Bodhi McCoy spent over 20 years working with this prayer and analyzing it with sacred geometry, and has discovered some incredible synchronicities.
A crazy person studies a prayer for over 20 years. Trust him.
Most evidence shows that Christian religion came out of Egyptian religion, and then later they went back and discredited the Egyptians,
Christianity came from monotheistic Judaism.
which were renewed and superimposed on the life of Yahshua ben Hur, which today we know as Jesus of Nazareth,
Admits it's made up, yet tries to appeal to it.
which is a word that derives from the original 7 core audible sounds of creation.
Well, in woo-woo land it might mean that, but to the rest of us it means anointed one.
The Maya took their knowledge, a crystal skull with memories of Atlantis.
Hoax.
Today we like to call them the Illuminati.
I knew it.
More and more information has become present lately that many of these families may have DNA that is different than the rest of the human population.
Variable 1% difference from one person to the next, but I'm sure you're gonna say aliens.
It is speculated that they share DNA that was passed down from the Martian race or other species races.
Yep.
This story, while seemingly unbelievable and at times outrageous,
Every bit of it is outrageous.
Take it with a grain of salt though. After all, it is just a theory.
No, that's not a theory.
That the power of Christ compels you!
The Sasquatch use dream time.
The power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you! The power of